More than 40% of students in years 1 through 10 were missing at least 1 in 10 school days. Let me say that again. More than 40% of students in grades 1 to 10 are missing at least 10% of school, according to the latest Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority data. That's ACARA. And that rate has been steadily worsening over the past 5 years. Back in 2019, 73.1% of students were attending at least 90% of school days. By last year, the figure was just 59.8%, and unfortunately, the story keeps on getting worse. There are certain demographics that are affected a little more than others from a socio-economic perspective. However, this is an issue that seems to cross all barriers and all demographics and affect so many kids. We're talking today about kids who are missing school. If you are concerned about your child, their anxiety and their school avoidance, today's podcast is for you. I'm going to be speaking with Megan Gilmour, the founder and CEO of Missing School. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to the Happy Families Podcast, Real Parenting Solutions every day. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. My name's Dr. Justin Coulson, and today I'm joined by Megan Gilmour. Megan is the founder and CEO of Missing School. It's an innovative charity that addresses educational isolation experienced by kids with chronic health conditions. Although, even though it's about chronic health conditions, if kids are missing school, well, that can be any number of things. Megan Gilmour was named the 2025 ACT Australian of the Year because of the advocacy work that she's been doing, which began with her son's battle with a life-threatening illness that got her, committed to transforming education and access to education nationwide. So through Missing School, Megan champions the use of anything online to get kids active and engaged with school, ensuring students remain connected to their classrooms and communities regardless of any health challenges they have. And her leadership and persistent advocacy have positioned Missing School at the forefront of educational reform, driving crucial policy conversations and legislative change to support vulnerable students across Australia. It's a long intro, but Megan, I think you're worthy of it, and so grateful that you're sharing your time with me today to have a conversation about kids missing school.
Thank you so much for having me on, Justin.
So let's start with just your story in a nutshell. You've dealt with chronic school absence because of your son's quite serious illness when he was young. What can you tell us about what happened there for him, for you, and the impacts on you and your family?
Yeah, so in 2010, when my healthy, vibrant 10-year-old son took a rapid slide into critical illness, a duration of 2 years essentially, and he missed whole big slabs of school for 18 months and then intermittently for the rest of the time. And so school slipped away overnight. It was not just about academics, but also what we witnessed through that medical treatment, not just for Darcy, but for other kids who we were, sharing hospital wards with. It was that their friends had slipped away too, and their identity as students and the routine, the everyday routine of school that helped them feel like kids. Our whole family went into survival mode. I watched Darcy's sister Mia also carry that silent worry, the sibling grief and anxiety and being kind of forgotten and left behind in all of it too. And I dropped everything, of course, work, normal life. And what struck us most about this was that there was no education system roadmap for families like ours. We felt invisible, and that isolation sparked this lifelong mission that I'm now on.
It's fascinating to hear you say that. I mean, we're talking about social issues, we're talking about identity challenges, obviously the educational, the missing so much work, and the flow on into the rest of the family. You're dealing with something that specifically physically impacted your son. Okay, he's got a physical illness. But there's heaps of parents who are listening to this who are saying, well, my kids aren't in hospital, my kids don't have any kind of physiological challenges, but the mental health challenges are absolutely there. It's anxiety, there's been bullying issues or whatever, and I can't get my kids out the door. I'm literally dragging them into the school, and then they're coming home by recess anyway. What are you seeing as you have conversations? I mean, because the research is so patchy and so unhelpful in this area. What are you seeing in terms of the impacts on kids who are missing school on a regular basis, whether it's physical health issues or mental health issues?
Yeah, so what we saw is that even though our journey started with a physical condition, the impacts on mental health for those children and the anxiety that they faced was there as well.
Yeah.
We also see through our work now at Missing School kids whose school isolation starts with a mental health issue or anxiety. Whatever the causes are, the issue for us is being isolated from school, because we know the long-term impacts that has, and it's not hard to guess what those are.
Can you walk through them for me? I think that it's worth listing them.
Yeah, so we know that children struggle academically when they miss school. We know that it disrupts their relationships with their peers, their friendships, and their teachers, and it has those long-term impacts on well-being, including mental health issues, even if the physical condition in this case resolves. So wherever that starts, the long-term prospects are effects to well-being, effects to future productivity, pathways to careers and work life. And so we need to address this early and make sure that we maintain those community connections that school can provide. This is what we've set out to do. And on our journey, what we've found is, and you mentioned this before, that school attendance has been slipping, and post-COVID has took a rapid slide, really. The numbers of children that this is now affecting and the reasons and causes for it all point to the same thing, is that our school systems are not fit for purpose. We believe that we're seeing a lot of these issues arise not only because children are having a physical illness that prevents them from going to school, but also that children, given differences in the way children are coming to school with differences, and those differences aren't accommodated by the school system. So we're on our journey now to resolve this through policy and work with government.
I'm sure that everybody who is a school teacher hears that, and it must be so hard to be working in a school and continually being told the system's wrong, the system's not fit for purpose. It's so difficult. And yet most teachers, most educators that I speak with will also nod their head and in a moment of honesty say, yes, and we are doing the very best that we can in a system that is I guess, built on medieval institutional frameworks, and it just doesn't really fit what we're dealing with today. When I think about what you're describing, Megan, the immediate question that I have, and this is something that I've wrestled with many parents over the years, is what do we need to do to help kids to get a full education? Because while the school system may have its quirks, idiosyncrasies, and frankly faults, education matters. You can get education outside of the school system, of course, but whether we're talking about school or not, education matters, and school is the place that the overwhelming majority of Australian children need to go to get that education. How do we help them to be there when either physically or mentally they're just falling apart and can't actually be at school?
Yeah, well, it is a big question, and it's really coming firmly into an evolution for Missing School now, because just to put another finer point on it, what we see is that we're living in 21st century pressures, and those 21st century pressures are now disrupting schools as a model. We're going into you mentioned it, it's a post-industrial revolution style of model. And I want to say this because I so respect the work that teachers do, and that our principals and people in schools do. And they are also experiencing the non-fit of that model.
I'm sure this is why so many teachers and so many principals are out on stress leave and experiencing anxiety and depression about their work, because of the fact that the model doesn't work today. So again, how do you get kids to school, and how do you get even teachers?
When we came to this, we decided to trial and pilot, and we have two-way digital connection into the classroom for children who can't physically be there. And we've discovered that two-way digital connection can take place. Schools have done it across Australia. And what we see when children are connected that way, and that has included children who experience extraordinary anxiety who didn't start with a physical condition. There's that safer way to join a classroom when they're overwhelmed from a sensory point of view, or they might feel like they're having relationship issues with peers in the classroom. And the disability standards can enable schools to do a lot of things to keep children connected and supported, including through two-way digital connection. So we have the legislation, we have the technology, we just need better policy now, and we just need our leaders to step up and look at schools as a critical part of the economy, as well as a critical part of children's lives, and recognise that we're in an era now where transformation is needed.
Such a complex, challenging and hand-wringing kind of challenge for so many families. Megan Gilmour is the founder and CEO of Missing School. You can Google and find Megan. We will link to her and all of her info in the show notes. Megan, really appreciate you jumping onto the pod and having a chat with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Justin.
Megan's been named the 2025 ACT Australian of the Year, and I think that this is a conversation that is not going to go away in a hurry. So much to juggle and so much to deal with here. If this has brought anything up for you, like I said, we will link to Missing School and other resources in the show notes. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides research and other admin support. If you would like more information and resources to support your family and help them to be happier and flourish, you can visit happyfamilies.com.au. Oh, I should also mention tomorrow on the Happy Families podcast, another school topic, we're going to be talking about whether or not leave should or should not be approved if kids are being told by their parents to take the day off or the week off for out of school term holidays. Controversial, provocative. We're going to get the down low on that as well. That's tomorrow on the podcast. We'll see you there.